My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. I'm only here to even the score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we gon' up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is on up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we gon' up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is on up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up.
What up, Night Nation? It's your boy Roger, and welcome to episode number 124 of the Nighted Ones. As a reminder, we are the only podcast that features a former UCF national champion, a former UCF radio host, an ESPN analyst, and hoops player, an infamous, yes, that's infamous, rapper who you may have seen putting out some shorts, our resident influencer and IG star shooting the breeze talking UCF sports. Remember to like and follow us on YouTube, IG, and check out the 70-plus teams and conferences on the College Huddle. It's been a hot minute. It's not your fault, it's ours. But we're back, and we're going to be moving the show. So just so everyone knows, we will be moving to Tuesday nights at this time, 9:30 p.m. ET. So same time, same place, different day. We're excited about that. This is just to give us a little bit more flexibility with our collective schedule so we can get more participation. This week, we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, there's some things happening in basketball. It's tourney time, and we're all going to be part of that show. So Friday, we get to kick it off. Some people were saying that it was going to be at like 3:00 in the afternoon, but that wasn't right. So, we got that fixed. We'll talk about the basketball matchup against UCLA, what we expect, who we see. There were some questions for two of their starters that will be returning for the game, unfortunately. But we get a week off, so hopefully we'll be up to full strength soon. We'll also talk a little bit about camp starting on the 31st. For football. There's may or may not be a spring game. Emphasis being on not. We'll talk a little bit UCF baseball. We'll talk about whether, Satya Messer, is it time to cut the cord? We'll get in a little listener love. We'll have Alan's oxymoronic stat of the week and Josh's sometimes funny fact of the week, and a quick update on other UCF sports that Alan and Andrew and probably everybody else but me and Josh don't watch. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start and bring to the show. Alan's not here yet. So last but not least, Josh Lazar.
Hey everyone, I'm interested about the Tuesday change, because what's interesting is a lot of these polls come out in these sports that mostly everyone else on the show doesn't watch. So I can do some updated things like where we are on the ITA tennis rankings and things like that. Everyone's excited about that, right?
Yeah, 100%. About as excited as I am about the fact that UCF baseball just clinched against Columbia University. So notch another win. So we're starting tonight and this week with a dub. So I'm excited. I am excited about that for sure. But before we get into all of that, so congrats to UCF baseball. We'll talk a little bit more about them. It seems like the hitting's turning around, which is exciting. But in the meantime, let's talk a little football. So spring camp is starting. It's starting March 31st. So it's almost here. A couple of notes for that. Normally we're used to, a fair amount of access when it comes to that. The announcement and the schedule came out from UCF. It looks like they're only allowing media availability for 3 times during the whole spring camp, and that's going to be at the beginning, towards the middle, and once at the end. There may be some availability for the new coaches, specifically the DB coaches, so that'll be interesting. Does not look like there will be a spring game this year. Now, we were kind of talking about the spring game, whether we thought it would happen with construction going on and all of that other fun stuff, but it appears that that's not going to be the case this year. Which is certainly interesting. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and bring to the stage someone you all know and love,
Who's last?
Alan Levin.
Hey,
Let's see that
Thanks,
hair
Cronin.
flip, dude. It's been a hot minute. All right.
Are we pre-advertising here? What's going on? Roger and
Oh,
I can give you some hats.
the Hard Rock.
Nice. Yeah. Alan's actually getting
Degenerate
paid.
gambler. Sorry.
Yeah. Alan's actually getting paid $9.99 per minute on this, right? To
This is
promote
AOL.
Yes, it is. All right. So getting
Maybe
back to that, glad to
cents a
have you
minute.
back. Glad to have you back on the stage, Alan. You had some questions here on spring camp. Let's talk a little bit about positions to watch. So why don't you take us a spin through who you think we should be on the lookout? Obviously, QB, I think, is pretty much solidified. But everywhere else, what are the positions to watch as we go into spring camp?
Yeah, I mean, it'd almost be easier to talk about the positions that are solidified, which, like you said, is pretty much just QB. When we're talking about offense, it's really, I would say the whole offense is fairly in flux. I mean, if you recall, starting with the skill positions, running back pretty much turned completely over outside of Tavion Swint coming back. So we have an entirely new running back room. The wide receiver room obviously has some returning guys, headlined by Wade and Charles and Dwayne Thomas Jr., but, obviously seeing a lot of new faces there. And then tight end, again, we get Dylan Wade back, but there's still a lot of new faces. But I think the biggest position to watch, I think we know we have some solid skill guys. There's some excitement about the new running backs that are coming in. There's excitement that the wide receiver room is going to take a step forward, and obviously Dylan Wade returning. But I think the biggest question that everyone wants to, is discussing is offensive line. We saw the issues with UCF's offensive line last year. So I think that's the probably number one position to watch, really, whether it's offense or defense. Again, a lot of turnover. Guys like Paul Rubelt are gone. Most of the starting lineup from last year is gone, and that's unfortunately not saying too much. I mean, they had some, highs last year. I know the pass rush was decent, but in general, there's been issues with the offensive line for a couple of years now. I mean, we've essentially had pretty much at least 3 or 4 guys turn over what feels like 3 or 4 years now. I guess with the transfer portal, there hasn't been a lot of stability at the position. So to me, that's the biggest position to watch. And then I would follow that up by running back. Obviously bring in 2 high-level transfers, both who could see playing time next year. And it's like kind of who takes over are we going to have that dominant kind of running back again like we did with RJ Harvey? Is there going to be more like a split like last year with Miles Montgomery and Jaden Nixon? So it'll be really interesting to see how Frost kind of employs the running backs. But I think, at least when we're talking about offense, that offensive line to me is the biggest position to watch. Who's going to step up from the transfers, some of the freshmen that we landed, and some of the younger guys who can actually step up and really make their name known this spring.
So, I mean, the offensive line, we got some offensive linemen with some experience. What are you expecting out of spring camp? Do you expect a lot of movement as far as that's concerned? Or do you think coming out of spring camp, we're pretty well solidified? Because I don't think we're going to be picking up any offensive linemen coming out of spring camp.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Which I think is a good thing, because that wasn't the case in years past. We did have some folks come back on D-line, which was awesome. And D-line seems to be in a good place. I think the DB is pretty well locked down. Linebackers, it's going to be interesting. So I agree with you. I think offensive line, and to see who leads the way as far as the running back room is concerned, is going to be interesting as well. Josh, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I'm good. Let's get the basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, before we do that, in other football news,
That's fair.
No one cares about football right now.
Yeah. No, we do have a $40 million roster officially. So 5 different P4 colleges now, or universities, have a $40 million football roster. So they're paying $40 million for their football roster. That's what we're competing against. Remember that it's 20 million is what the cap is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Additionally, the NCAA Kamish is now officially pushing for 24. This is new within the past week. 24 seed playoff with all at larges. So there's a little bit of finally political maneuvering going on between the SEC and the NCAA. I think everybody's pretty miffed at the SEC for shooting down the last playoff expansion because they had that opportunity to expand it right before hand. And, Sankey basically came out and torpedoed it. UCF's kind of been riding the fence on all of it. But at the end of the day, the NCAA finally is looking like it's showing some cojones, and it'll be interesting because it's a political battle in the offseason. Now, the only problem with it is that won't be able to go into place until the next contract cycle, and the next contract cycle won't be available for another 3 years or so. But it's super interesting, to say the least, that we've got someone actually, putting up a fight against the SEC. Anything else you wanted to add, Alan, before we acquiesce to Josh and start talking hoops?
I think we can get more into it as spring ball goes on. I mean, the only thing I would say, I'm really curious to see how two key injuries from last year recover, which is Day Farmer at wide receiver. I'm really curious to see how he looks, because they had a lot of hope for him going to last year. And the other one is Sincere Edwards, who got injured there, I think after week 3 or week 4. So be interesting to see an update on them, because it's been pretty much crickets from, about the injuries from last year, because, there hasn't been too much media availability, but that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Sincere, I'll be excited about him. As far as Day is concerned, it's more than people were excited. I mean, he was going to be the top receiver coming out of camp. So with his injury, it was really disheartening. But I do believe that the type of injury that he had and how long he was out, I think he had plenty of time to recover. But I agree. We'll see if he's got his full step. This, especially when it comes to off the snap. This season, at the beginning of the season and through camp, or if he needs some more time to heal, because he can be a really, really, really exciting addition back into the roster. And I think it's something that people haven't been talking enough about. But more to come on that, like you said, as we get closer to the spring game. Now, let's talk a little bit about what everybody's talking about, which is it's tourney time. And that doesn't happen very often for UCF. Last time was that 2019 team, right? What I will say is we talk a lot about Johnny Dawkins and whether he should be here or not, but this is not the time for that. Right now is the time to focus on the team, where we think they are. There's been a ton of injuries as of late. Themis Folks, it really hasn't been widely distributed, but he's been dealing with a hip flexor. He also, in that last game in the Big 12 tournament, he was slipping and sliding everywhere on the glass court, and that was a big topic of conversation as well. However, I think it'll do him well to have a week's worth of rest. Also, we had a thigh bruise for Riley Kugel right at the end of that last game. He ran into the table diving for a ball, so not really diving, just running to it, trying to get it, and hit his thigh. Luckily, he was nursing it, but it looks like it's just a thigh bruise, so he should be back for us. He had a couple late injuries. Jeremy Fermina will be back for us, which will help us in the front court. So we were definitely missing him there for a stretch towards the end of the season, and not having someone to back up Bowl in the middle. So that's exciting. Last game was his first game back, so at least he got his legs under him a little bit and has been practicing with the team. So that should bode well for us as well. UCLA, there were a couple of it was announced that we'll be playing UCLA in the tournament as our first game. They're a 7 seed. They don't do well when they're traveling to the East Coast. We are playing in Philly, so that is favorable for us, but I imagine they'll be in earlier in the week to make sure that they're acclimating. And then you've got our old foe, Mr. Cronin, which sets up actually a unique situation. For those of you that do or do not follow basketball before this season or last season, Mick Cronin was our arch nemesis from Cincinnati. He used to coach there before he moved on to UCLA. He's also a fiery coach. He's actually a pretty good tactician. So he's a smart guy. He's going to be ready for us when we play them. He's also played Johnny Dawkins, so he knows Dawkins pretty well, although the teams of the past don't match up to what he's seeing out of this year. But he will be prepared. We do have an opportunity because he has been on the hot seat and in the news for the wrong reasons to do a double dip on former Cincinnati coaches. I'll say former now because Wes Miller was fired after our last win. And, a little Schadenfreude here. And yes, I did say that right because I'm half German. Yep. Chiem Sellers and Keyshawn Hall also miss the tournament this year as well. Keyshawn Hall said something at Auburn about wanting to win, etc., but he's just been a cancer for Auburn as well. He's played well, but he's hogged all the minutes and showed the scoring. Now, going back to where we are the number 38 seed in the field. There was some concern towards the end of the season there with bid stealers, whether some people were afraid we were going to go Dayton. I never thought we were going to go to Dayton, but there was some concern as to where we would be placed. I do think there were a couple of other brackets that we were being projected to. How do you guys feel about the bracket that we landed in? The immediate bracket has us playing UCLA, and then the winner of UConn and Furman, which we saw Furman before. UConn, the number 2 team, obviously had some negative, also has a fiery head coach and had some negative press recently. How do you guys feel about that bracket? Do you think, it's tough to get out against a 2 seed if we win round 1, but how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that was a good bracket for us, better bracket? There was some thought that we may play in Tampa with UF being the number 1 seed in that bracket. Then there was some thought that we'd be playing Miami, and we ended up in Philly, which is kind of odd. The NCAA had come out and said we're going to try to place teams regionally as much as possible because they were concerned that there was going to be a shortage of aircraft and charter flights to be able to move the teams around. End up in Philly.
We bombed that one for UCLA.
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
we bombed that one for UCLA.
Yeah, but I think for UCLA, anywhere they go, it would have been would have been a long flight, right? And more than likely, we're going to go to the East Coast. So, what do you guys think about that bracket? How do you feel about playing UCLA, another storied basketball program?
I mean, I think in terms of, difficulty, when you're the 10 seed, if you advance, you play the second seed in the second round, no matter what. I mean, if you look at the other 2 seeds, Houston, Iowa State, and Purdue, it's not like it's that much easier or harder than UConn. It would still be, an upset for UCF to beat any of those 4 squads. I mean, obviously, we know Houston and Iowa State well, being in our conference. So maybe, there's the familiarity factor there, but it's not like I would feel vastly more confident by playing one of those 3 over UConn or vice versa. So, I think it is what it is. I mean, if you're going to do anything special in this tournament, get to the weekend, the Sweet 16, Elite 8, you're going to have to beat some good teams. There's no easy route unless, there's some major upsets in your bracket and you face a quote unquote, easy team, but, they end up being like a Cinderella squad and they could get hot at the right time. And it's just as difficult in a way. So, going through UCLA, then, UConn, and then potentially someone like a Michigan State, I mean, it's tough. But I think UCF does have the squad. They're getting healthier right now. Obviously, they're dealing with some injuries, but they get 5 days of rest here. UCLA is just as banged up. I mean, I did put an update in there that their top 2 players are expected to play, but they were forced to leave the Big Ten tournament in the second half. I think one of them and the other one was the game.
Not
before.
The Big Ten, the Big East tournament, just to correct that.
UCLA is on Big Ten.
UCLA.
No?
Oh, I'm sorry, UCLA.
Yeah.
I'm thinking UConn. I'm already thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, so
Don't do that yet.
yeah, no, they're a little banged up too. So, you know, it's you know, I think UCF has what it takes to advance to the second round, but it's hard for me to see them getting past you know, most likely what's going to be UConn in the second round.
UConn's actually pretty interesting to me. They lost to St. John's in the championship 52-72. So they are beatable, but they are 29-5. They have some wins against some really, really, really solid upper level teams.
And have won 2 natties in the last 3 years.
Yeah, but this year's UConn
No, it's different.
Yeah. Well, this year's team is not as good as previous teams, right?
Right.
They lost to Arizona 67-71 early on in the season. They beat Illinois early. They beat Kansas 61-56. So it's not like they're blowing these good teams out. They did beat Florida 77-73. You know, they were going back and forth with Butler. So it's interesting for sure. They beat Villanova 75-67. So not blowing teams out. And if you look at the stats, and we'll get to that in a minute, but they're not winning game. They're winning tight games. So they know how to win tight games. They aren't winning blowout games. In fact, if there's any blowouts, they were one of the 5 losses that they actually had. So they have the ability to have letdowns. For UCLA, on the other hand, to your point about their 2 top scorers, one of them being Bilodeau. The interesting thing with Bilodeau is he's a heck of a shooter. So coming off an injury, it'll be interesting to see if he's cold coming out. He hits his he's shooting like 51.8% field goal percentage, but his 3-point percentage, he's a 45% basically field goal shooter, 3-point shooter. So we're going to have to protect the paint if he's playing. But I like you question whether he's actually going to be healthy enough to be in rhythm in this game. Now, if we've also been banged up. I mean, pretty much everybody on the starting roster is banged up. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see like how those guys are doing and whether they are, you know, in a position to play well and fully recovered. I do think the time off has come at a good time. When you look at how we stack up, their defense isn't great. Ours is worse. I mean, we average 78.5 that we're giving up per game. They're averaging 71. We both shoot 47% from the field. Rebounding, we have the slight edge. Assists, we're about even. It's 15.8 to 16.3. We have more blocks, and steals, they have more steals. So they like to play a fast-paced offense. And if we, you know, this is going to be, can we lock down on defense? And that's been a big question mark, but we have been playing better defense as of late. Our offense has just been atrocious. We were averaging over 80 points per game, 83 points per game before. The last 3 games kind of knocked that average down, but we can score, and we can score in bunches. The challenge is which team's going to show up? Is it the team that's going to have lazy passes? Is it the team that, you know, is going to have turnovers? You know, which team is going to show up? For UCLA, I'm going to hand, Josh has got a few things to say. You're right, not tempo, but I shouldn't have said tempo. I should have said they're a defensive team that tries to get points off of they're not a half-court team. Transition, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, go ahead, Josh. I've been out of practice.
Yeah, it's all good. So you talked about a lot of things here, and let's talk about the bracket, and then I'll talk about the team. On the bracket, you know, what are our other options here? If let's see, on the 7 seed, our other options are Miami, right? Kentucky and St. Mary. Might have liked Kentucky, but I think with the matchup we have, it might be a pretty solid one. I think it will be very similar to who is least banged up at this point. I think rebounding, it looks small by numbers, but UCF is about 103rd, 13th or something in rebounding, and they're like 300 something. They are not a good rebounding team. So that defensive posture, how our bigs can stay in with Fumena getting better, with Bull hopefully not really as banged up as we think he is. That's going to be interesting too. So those are some things that I think in probably the better options of the matchups we have. Maybe Kentucky might have been a little bit easier, but still, they're all hard teams. And to Alan's point, no matter where we go, we're going to have to be good teams. And it's not like we've done it before.
I am glad we're not playing Iowa State and Houston.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to get to the twos. Like, who else do we have? Purdue, right? Who won a title? Houston, who won a title. Iowa State, who probably had a good chance at doing well. We're not beating Houston or Iowa State more than likely. Out of the four we have, UConn, maybe. If we have a shot, Furman has probably no shot of knocking them off, if I'm being realistic. So if we beat UCLA, it's still going to be hard no matter what. And to Alan's point, we are going to have to beat hard teams to advance further than we ever have. And that's just life, and that's okay. Could have been worse because we're not beating any of the number one teams. Obviously we played Duke, tied them at halftime in a exhibition game, and then they blew the doors off. Arizona, we've seen how we've played against them on a wood court. Florida, Michigan, whatevs. So I feel like the bracket itself is not that bad. And if people do their jobs, including us, there are some insane things like us potentially playing the Cows. That is a possibility. Us playing Duke again is a possibility. Let's see how we get through game one, and then I'll get to there. So I feel like the bracket itself is as good as we can ask for, right? We were the 10th seed in the rankings, and I feel like we have a pretty good bracket. So that's round one. Round two, this game is going to be really interesting, and it's going to be interesting for a few things. I was kind of talking in the side. I don't know if I talk about it as much on the podcast. I knew something was up with our team, and I couldn't put my thoughts to it beyond the side chats we were having. We had Bull, who wasn't getting more than 19 minutes a game. We had Stillwell, who wasn't getting more than 19, 20 minutes a game. And the last time that happened, when they were getting more than that, was that Texas Tech game. And when after that game, their numbers came off, and it wasn't always because they were in foul trouble. So I knew something was off. Going to the last two home games, something felt off. And I think we're now hearing more about how banged up this team actually was, and how, Fumena, of course, was banged up, but folks having a little bit of something. I still think Stillwell has a little bit of something. I think
Stillwell wasn't at 100%. No.
Yeah, and I think
he was still wearing a boot when he was off off the court everywhere.
Yeah. So I think the way we win this game, a game I'm going to be attending, which we can talk about if you want to talk about that debacle plus interesting fun stuff. The way I think we win this game is threefold. One, we're actually healthy. That's one. Two, we out rebound them significantly. I'll say one of them 6, 5 out rebound them by 5 or 10 would be excellent. And a little bit of our shooting getting to where it should be, maybe being on a wood court would help. Maybe getting a little bit lucky. They're not a nothing of a team. Dawkins is 2-4 against Cronin coached Cincinnati teams. So we'll see there. I think we need a little bit of a mix of many things, but this is not a team where we have no shot. There is definitely a clear path to doing well. And it starts with Stillwell being able to do 30 minutes of as best as he can, and hoping our injured-laden team gets enough rest, and their injured-laden team is a little foggy. I feel like a mix of this with a lot of rebounds can get us the win. I know we're close here, and I have some things coming up on your interesting fact or a fun fact later in the show, but I don't see this as, I won't say tight, but I don't see this as hard of a game as it seems the pundits are not even giving us any shot at.
Well, ESPN officially has us as a 25% chance of winning. And, I did a little bit of roster analysis because I wanted to see what matchups might look like. So interestingly, UCLA has no centers. They don't have anybody that's playing dedicated centers. As far as length is concerned, they have a lot of forwards and they have some tall guards. Their guards are 6'3", 6'5", 6'8", 6'2", 6'4", 6'2", so lengthy guards. They do have a lot of seniors and juniors on this team as well. So you've got a lot of guys that have experience, just like our guys. Their tallest, they have two forwards, one 6'11", one 6'10". So I was looking at, the size of their their weight, right? So the 6'11" guy is 245 pounds, and the other guy is 230 pounds. Both of them seniors, or one a junior, one a senior. So this is going to be more of a. These guys are their assist total. They're going to pass the rock around. This is going to be a team that's going to try to move the ball and create a lot of motion to confuse our defense. It'll be interesting to see which defense we actually play. But Stillwell is, stocky, but a lot of these guys in the 230s, 240-pound range. So it's going to be tough if they box out effectively for him to be as effective. Where he's going to need to be, his knack is to be in the right position, not just to body guys and to get low, because he is shorter than most of these guys are. So if he can be successful there and be as active as he was in BYU, he'll be a big difference maker. I think the big thing is Bowl and Famina. If the front court can hold their own, which I think they can, against this group, they have the height advantage. Both of them do. I think we'll be okay. I think they're going to press our guards. They're going to press. They're going to try to shut down Kugel. They're going to be physical. Mick Cronin's teams are always physical. I always joke that when we played Cincinnati, it was like a wrestling match because they would clothesline us when they were in the AAC, and Mick Cronin coached. So this is going to be a physical matchup. I think they're going to lean on Kugel. I think they're going to lean on Folks and see if they can stop them there and stop the offense from there. The big X factor for me, I think, is Burks. Burks has kind of disappeared the last two games, and he has a tendency to do that. He hasn't really been hitting his shot. I do think they have had tired legs, to your point, Josh.
Yeah.
But it'll be a big question as to whether Burks shows up and how he shows up. Is he going to be that 3-point shooter, or if he misses some of them, is he going to be the guy? Is Johnny going to play this to try to stretch the offense, or is he going to try to get look for dominance in the paint? We've been doing a lot more. How should we call it? We've been doing a lot more pick and roll, or and trying to find folks in that 8 to 10 foot range. If they try to play zone on us, which Mick Cronin likes to play a lot of physical man defense. If we can move the ball into the paint and get it within 10 feet and make our bones there, I think we'll be good. One thing about this offense all season long, people, we talk about the threes, and we do need the threes. But this offense has been all about the paint and being able to score within the paint. What we cannot do, and I hope that we don't do, is when we go to a man offense, or playing against a man defense, that we revert to ISO ball, right? I don't want guys out. I want them passing the rock, trying to find the open shot. I want guys cutting. I want guys moving the ball, not just around the perimeter, but also getting it into that 7 to 10 foot range. When we play through Stillwell there, or when we play through Bull there, that really works for us. What I don't want is a bunch of what we have been. He's been getting better and better all season long about this, but Bull, the last game had a problem getting back when he gets too far out and he can be pulled into a double team. out of the paint, it takes him too long to get back, in front of the basket. And I think on defense. So I think that could be problematic. And then foul trouble. Like, who knows how these guys are going to call this game, right? Some games, I think when you get into the tournament, they're going to let them play more physical, at least in the first half. So we're going to have to out physical them and be able to sustain that in the first half against the Mick Cronin coach team. So, we've all been screaming about the reffing. The joke is, how's the reffing? Well, I'm sure that the reffing is going to be on the side of not calling fouls, at least for the first half. And if it's a close game throughout the game, they're going to let them play physical. If that's the case and they call it both ways that way, then I think we have a good shot against this team. With the asterisk, as you said, Josh, of who's the healthiest, right? And I mean on both sides, because they Bilodeau went out his last game and had to sit because he got injured his last game. So it'll be interesting. And even if you get injured or whatever and you come back, it's going to throw off your shooting, both from getting back in rhythm, and then secondly, if your legs are tweaked or whatever, your knees tweaked like his was, that can definitely affect your ability to knock down the three ball from distance.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him. I think Dent also from their team, who's their lead, has a ton of minutes per game and a ton of assists too. He's a pretty solid player. I do feel like this is almost the battle of attrition, but it's what it is. And anyone who's been to a game or has seen this team play at the height of how it can play, this team can beat just about anyone in the nation. They have to be firing on all cylinders for about 32 minutes out of the game. They can take some breaks, but not a lot. And I agree with you. It's kind of what's going to show up. I will say
the hardest part, to your point, though, Josh, and I'm just adding to your point, right?
Yeah.
The hardest part defensively, our one weakness, has been defending the three. And Bilodeau
recently, not great.
Bilodeau is a forward who can shoot the three, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to stretch. They have the assists. They're going to stretch. They're going to try to stretch our defense and beat us at on the perimeter some as well. And more importantly, also transition threes.
Yeah.
Now, defensively, one of the things we have changed, and I'm sure you noticed this too, is when we're defending the three, the guys are literally turning their bodies now midair so that they're not face to face with them and trying not to run into them. So all of you that are saying, hey, like we've got these guys that are playing defensively and hitting all these three ball fouls, right? I agree with you, but Johnny is, to his defense, he is trying to coach that out of them or give them ways so that he reduces the number of fouls on 3-point shots. So go ahead, Josh.
And that stupid Riley Kugel foul. I think
that wasn't a foul.
It wasn't a foul. No, we all know that. That's why I had the air quotes if you're listening in. No, that quote unquote foul. No, that foul was a stupid, ridiculous, should never have been called. Stupid ref taking something out, taking the whistle before he even got down on the ground. Maybe part of the reason why they're trying to do that. I do feel like it's interesting because if you look at our last games, like we know that at that Baylor game, at that Oklahoma State game, we just weren't 100%, and we know their teams were, and they're beating like Michigan State and Nebraska, really solid teams. Lost to Purdue, and like we lost to the same way we lost to Arizona, they lost to Purdue. They were closer, but losing to really, really, really big and good teams, we get it. That does happen. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, and I am both excited and scared at my trip to see how that's going to work. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, what was the deal with that? You alluded to
Okay.
that earlier. And don't go to like a 10-minute like dissertation, but give us the
Sure. So we're only 39 minutes into the pod, about 60 minutes. I got 21 minutes on this. Now, here's what's going on. So if you have been around UCF sports for a while, you know that typically within once selection Sunday happens and everyone's in, usually by 7 or 8 at night, you know where the teams are going to be and you know what the timeframes are going to be. So someone with very low clout or follower count put something out about the time and was picked up by UCF, and UCF actually made a tweet about it that we were at 310.
The
310 on
315
True TV or something, which it's what it is. Maybe that's where it was at one point and then it changed or whatever. So with that in hand, I'm like, great, go fly up early at like 7 in the morning or even 9, fly out late at like 10:30, whatever. I have a little fun before or after. Maybe I do some business. I get to watch the game, get to fly back same day, no hotel. Perfect. So an hour and a half later, we get it's really 7:30. And so during that time, I know someone who booked a flight, a train ticket, and tickets to the wrong round at the same time. I know I booked a flight where, my flight's I still have the flight. It's not refundable because it's less than 7 days out. So I have a flight at 10:30. Somehow I can get to the airport. I'll get home by 1 in the morning, but we'll figure that out. I booked another one for the next day. That's refundable. So I can figure that out. Probably not.
You're coming back the same day?
Yeah, I'm going up the same day, back the same day, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, I did that. I did that for us for the what was it? The Military Bowl that was played in Navy Stadium when we played against Duke. Oh,
yeah, it's able to be done, and so I was like, everything's good. It's right by a casino. If I wanted to do that, there's a potential client. I can go up in downtown Philly. Perfect. Like all these great things happening, and then that hits. And everyone's like flummoxed and ridiculous and whatever. So that's kind of what happened. So I should have known better. I should have waited, but UCF tweeted it with an official graphic and everything. So I believed it. So I
didn't believe it when I saw True TV for an NCAA tournament game
too, but who knows? What I do know is that I might throw a bet down to make my money back on that flight or whatnot. I've thought about it because there's literally a casino right next door, and see what happens. So that's a thought. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to go up. I did this once before. I backpacked to the to Madison Square Garden when we were playing TCU. Grew up in New York, watching UCF play in Madison Square Garden. I thought was a great, awesome idea. So I went back up and down for that game with basically a backpack and nothing else, which was nice. So we'll see. I will say that I did get tickets through UCF, and I have a decent amount of points, but I know some shareholders were going, and they got first picks. I still actually got on the lower bowl. So if we win, I have another Sunday game that I have to figure out whether or not I want to do that trip. If not, if anyone wants to buy a ticket, let me know. But I will be glad to pay that money if we make it to the second round, and we'll see what happens. Oh, last piece. Is this the area and the best place to go? Look, it's a lot easier to get from Orlando to Philadelphia than Orlando to Buffalo, New York. And so I feel like if you can swing it, you're good. It's good. The problem for a lot of people who are in Orlando, if you're in Orange County or even Seminole County too, a lot of schools that are out this week for spring break, which both makes it easy if you had no plans like we did, or really hard if you're already out. Talk to someone who was in the meeting when they were announced and got when the team got notification that they were going to the tournament where they were going, who's out for the week, but might go to the Sunday game. So I have a feeling if we beat UCLA, tickets for the Sunday games are going to be kind of hard to get. So yeah.
Well, as it stands right now,
I'll report if I can. We'll see what I could do.
Yeah, as of right now, there are 3,425 tickets left for our game against UCLA. couple of things just to add to this before we kind of talk a little bit about UConn if we do get there. We are 5.5 dogs against UCLA as it stands right now. I do think I do want to get some score predictions here. So let's talk a little bit about score predictions. So for the UCLA game, we're all assuming we win. What's your score prediction? We'll start with you, Josh.
So I think we're going to have to score a bunch. I really do. I think we're going to have to score a bunch. I think we need to be in the early 80s. I think if we're going to play this game, if we're going to win this game, I feel
we're definitely going to play this game.
I know. I feel like this is like a 82 to 76, 78 type of game.
All right, where are you landing? 76 or 78?
I'll do 78.
Oh, okay. 82-78 Knights, says Josh.
Yes.
Alan, what do you think?
I mean,
you're the betting guru.
I'm not going to share the same negativity like I do for football. I mean, I do legit think, like Josh said, UC have a chance. It wouldn't be crazy. I wouldn't consider this some sort of crazy upset. The spread's only 5.5. The over/under is 152. So I agree, Josh. The Knights are going to need to score in the low 80s, I think, to knock off UCLA here. So I'm going to go 83 to 78 UCF.
One-upping Josh here. I see. Your price is writing him. Okay.
Oh, good.
Can't do the same exact score.
Yeah, well, it's pretty darn
especially
close.
In basketball. Football, it's like, all right, there's only so many, but basketball, you got to be different.
Yeah, I'm going to say, like, we average somewhere around 40 points a game, 41.5 points a game for the first half, and the second half, we average 43 typically. Again, our average point scored went down a little bit. We're now averaging over 81, but that went down a little bit with the last three games.
UCLA averages 71.
Yeah, so I was going to say...
Sorry, they average 77, excuse me. They give up 71, but they average 77, UCLA.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to say this is going to be a close game. I think these guys, now that they've got there, I think they're going to be motivated. Even if they fall behind, which they've been doing lately in the first half, they haven't been scoring those 40 points. I'm going to say UCF wins this game 78 to 72.
Nice. Defensive a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And I think part of it is that UCLA, they're going to have to find their feet because they've had two big-time injuries that kind of happened fairly recently for them. It's going to take them a minute to get in the game, especially if you're relying on the three. Our guys, I think they've been they alternate between slow starts and fast starts. So they'll have slow starts and then they'll catch up by halftime, or they'll have fast starts and they'll dip by halftime and then pick it up again after the first half in the first 5 to 8 minutes of the second half. So I'm going to say 78-72 UCF. Now, if we get to UConn, UConn, we talked a little bit about earlier. I actually think we've got a better chance at UConn than we did versus Iowa State or Houston. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. I mean, we also, lost to both Houston and Iowa State. So, the track record's not great. I know we got blown out by Iowa State, and Houston, I think, was also a blowout, at least one of the games, right? So, I mean, not a great track record there in terms of that. But, I mean, I don't know much about UConn. I mean, like you said, their teams probably aren't as strong as their back-to-back natty teams, but obviously they're still a 2 seed. They're good. I know they've, like you said, they've kept it close, but, they have a really good coach. I'm sure they still have a pretty good roster to be the the 2 seed. And, so I don't know if we have I don't know that. I think there's the familiarity factor. Like I said earlier, I think when you play a conference foe, like at least I think, they don't have to just rely on tape of them playing other teams. They can actually say, we battled these teams. We know their weaknesses. We know their strengths, like literally on the court, but that doesn't necessarily mean we match up well with them. I don't know much about UConn. So, I think I'd probably rather just play UConn just because I've seen how we badly beaten how badly gotten beaten by Houston and Iowa State. So yeah, I mean, I'd rather probably play UConn. And if we play them, do we have a chance? I mean, I think the beauty of the March Madness tournament and everything is a 1-game sample. I mean, if you get hot at the right time, I mean, there's always teams that get hot at the right time, and there's always big upsets. I know there's been a lot of stories lately in the media about how the upset has started to go away in March Madness due to NIL and stuff. But, UCF's obviously not some sort of Cinderella George Mason type of school or Loyola Chicago. So I think they could beat UConn, but we gotta get past UCLA here first.
Josh, any thoughts?
If we are successful on Friday and we're playing any number 2 seed, I want UConn. And that's only because we know what Houston is, like Alan was saying. We know what Iowa State is, and I'm being objective. If I'm going between Purdue and UConn this year, I want UConn. If I had to have a choice this year, I want UConn. Purdue is doing ended its season on what it should have. Right, it's currently at a win. UConn did lose to St. John's twice, who also got. They got shafted in their seeding. That's besides the point. I think they're going to, well, we'll see what happens. I think they're going to play Kansas, and that'll be fun. But we might, who knows? We do well enough, we might face them too. So I of the teams, I know we weren't going to beat Houston. We're not going to beat Iowa State. I don't think we have a shot against Purdue. Maybe we have a slim chance against UConn. I mean, again, a lot of their losses in the last 8 games or so, in Creighton, Marquette, and St. John's, twice. But they're also, it's intriguing. It's intriguing because overall, like, was it Seton Hall? Only the top 4 teams in the Big East. It's just Villanova, Seton Hall, UConn, and St. John's are only the only teams over 500. Like Creighton that they lost to is a under 500 team. The Paul Butler Providence. I'm thinking, was it Sellers who's there? Marquette, Georgetown, Xavier are all just, I'm not saying they're trash, but they're not over 500 teams this year. So they aren't beating world beaters in and day out, but they are a solid team. Don't know how St. John's is a 5 seed. They have a right to be upset.
Yeah. I will say this. I agree with you. I was going to say the Big East isn't as good as it traditionally has been. Not this year. So, but, I mean, we also went, 16-6 against the SEC, and they still got a bunch of ESPN love this year. I wonder why. When you look at their stats, their average, well, that's their team. Those are their teams, right?
Correct.
So from their stats, 77.5 points per game. Their big thing, their 3-point percentage isn't as good, and that's where we struggle. They're averaging around 35% on 3-point percentage. They're shooting about 58% field goal.
UConn or UCLA?
UConn.
Oh, gosh.
And they do have a lot of assists, so they move the ball really, really well. UConn does, which is expected. That's fundamental basketball, right? But they aren't as big of a 3-point shooting threat. So I would feel a lot better playing UConn and our chances at beating UConn, especially coming off of a win against UCLA. If we're clicking, or at least clicking in the second half, and win that game against UCLA, I think we have a good shot at competing, if not beating UConn. But we'll we'll look at that again. If we win that game, we will probably do a impromptu live or something like that to kind of talk about that, preview that a little bit more. So, all right. So we're all on the beat the UCLA train. That would be another storied program to notch, making history again, just like it was for Kansas. So that's super exciting there. All right.
I mean, that would mean this is probably the best year of basketball we've ever had. Like it's already close, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit. I do want to talk a little bit of women's hoops. Just one thing. Now it's not a Swivit moment because it's still hooping and hollering.
Fine.
I'm just going to say this. Messer is messy and it's time for her to go. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, it sounds like they did not make like an NIT or anything.
Well, they won against Houston.
They were 11-19. Sorry, United States just tied the World Baseball Classic at the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs. I think it was a Judge hit one out of the park. No, someone did. Harper. Sorry.
Breaking news live update.
Yeah.
Who are they playing tonight? Is it
Venezuela
again?
Yeah, Venezuela got like the opening pitcher had a pass ball, and Venezuela had a sac fly for the first, hit a home run at the first pitch off the top of a inning to get 2-0. And we how many people? We've had 3 hits this entire game. I guess 1 or 2 of them just happened. Venezuela's been playing amazingly, and we're getting
talk about world politics and what that game means. I mean, we would have been better off playing the Italians at that point, who were the surprise of the World Baseball Challenge this year.
Yeah.
So,
but it's 2-2, and we have 3 hits, and that was just a walk, and Harper homered like 432 out in Miami.
It doesn't surprise me with Harper. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
All right, so that is a great segue to let's go ahead and swim it. All right, let's talk a little UCF baseball. So UCF baseball, there were some question marks. We raised some question marks. There were some people out there that were pretty boisterous about our boy Rich Wallace, and ended up with the sweep this weekend. So came off a great game tonight, beating Columbia, but before that, had the sweep. And the big difference, honestly, between the games is we started seeing the ball a lot better. Our hitters have kind of turned it on. Deamis Ross, who was our leadoff hitter all season, he hit a home run early. He had a great season last season, and then just hit a humongous slump. And he's finally starting to not try to overdo it and using more of the field on his hitting. So he's hitting a little bit better. Moran, who's also been having it, they kind of both went into a slump at the same time. He's been figuring it out as well. The last 2 games against Oklahoma State, he contributed. So that was good. Lodice is a young guy, but he has been extremely good, both fielding and hitting, which has been awesome. And Austin Jacobs, lost Austin Jacobs in this series. We don't know for how long. Had a finger. He got hit in the base. Got hit by a baseball. Looks like he's got a broken finger, but he's been absolutely stellar. Big Willie's been hitting really, really well, and Hankerson's figuring it out. He was kind of up and down all season long, and he's actually got 3 walk-offs so off of his bat. So he's been really, really, really turning it on. So this team, the story of this team has been the hitting. The pitching, for the most part, we were trying to figure out our bullpen. But I think we've kind of settled there. We've kind of played a little mix and match with the hitting and the lineup, which I feel like Rich has done a pretty good job. There's been times where the starting lineup has been off, and he's been substituting guys in the lineup. He's been pinch hitting guys. He's been doing a bunch of different things that kind of have gotten us through some games. So no matter how you feel like he's managing, there's been some things where it's like, Rich, are you sure we want to be bunting here? Kind of situation. But in fact, that last game we got kind of lucky because we had a pitch, we had a couple of bunt attempts, and then we had a pitch sale on the pitcher, and then we were able to get around and score off of that after a hit. So that advanced the runner, and then put us in scoring position at third, and we had a single and drove in the winning run. So it's been interesting, but it feels like this roster is starting to get its groove as far as hitting is concerned, and that's been something that's been missing pretty much all game. Now, what this means for UCF baseball, we're currently number 1 in the Big 12, guys, closely followed behind by West Virginia. Oklahoma State was favored coming into this series, and we swept. This is our first Big 12 conference sweep in UCF baseball history. So a little bit of history being made again this weekend, which is awesome. It was crazy. Like, it was wild games. The first game, Oklahoma State was up big, like big. And in the 8th inning, we kind of turned, or 7th inning, we kind of, was it 7th or 8th? I don't remember. We turned it around and scored like 6 or 7 runs, ended up gutting that one out, won 12-11. We just had to get through their ace pitcher, because their ace pitcher was basically shutting us down and shutting our hitting down all game. Then we won convincingly the second game in the series 6-1. And then the last game of the series, that one was a nail biter, because we got to the 9th inning and we were playing rotate the pitcher at the end. We were in control pretty much most of the game. But then we were rotating pitchers with like 1 out. We loaded the bases with 2 walks. Then, so 2 pitchers later, when we were on our 3rd pitcher to close it out, and we ended up winning 6-5. So huge win. Colombia, I was watching to see if Lopez was going to be pitching. He's from Brazil. He actually pitched in the World Baseball Challenge. He pitched against the Cows. They lost that game. He pitched 6 innings, 2.42 ERA, but did end up losing that game 2-0 to the Cows. But as far as pitching is concerned, Sauce has been doing what we've expected him to do. Smith has been closing with the Heat. Evan Jones has also been closing with the Heat as well. So we've got Wicker is coming back in, rounding into form. So we've got some good pitchers. The question is going to be, how does this work going into the pen, right? Like, how deep is this pen going to be? Because once we get to the end, some of the guys that we thought would work out haven't been working out. And it's really interesting. But next game up for us will be at TCU. So we're going to play an away game. The one thing that we did this year that we haven't done in past years that I think people are forgetting is we played a much tougher schedule on the front end. And so because of that, we were ranked before tonight's game, we were ranked number 25 in RPI, etc. So this team played a much tougher schedule. Looks like it prepared them well for this game. And Josh, you've been watching it too. What are your thoughts so far on the baseball team now that we're into conference play?
So we talked about this in the pad just a couple weeks ago, and I think even at that time it was like, let's wait till we get to our league. Let's see what happens. Like there's some bright spots and some like, what's going on here? I will say this. I am still in that methodology. I still want to see more. I still want to see what happens in the next couple of series. I definitely feel like things are being put together. You definitely see more runs being scored. They're attacking the ball a little bit more. I'm excited, but not like, oh, we're the best team in the Big 12 and we're gonna sweep. Right? No. But do I feel a heck of a lot better than when we were 5-5? Yeah, this helps. Like all of this helps. And I'd like to see us how we do on some away series, right? Being at home can help, but still, the Oklahoma State's a good team. I'm telling you, minus a few things.
They were voted the 5th. They were expected to be the 5th best team in the league this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're still. This is still it is a solid series. Any sweep is awesome in conference always, and let's keep seeing how the progression goes. I feel like if this is building and we start stacking up not only wins, but just like sometimes you lose a series and you've played well, but not as good as you can. That happens in every sport. If we start stacking good games together over and over again, then I will be really excited. And there will be an allegory to softball, which we'll talk about probably a little bit later too. So yeah, I'm excited. I wish I had more time to go see the team. I used to go to baseball games all the time. I just, time, business, family, all that doesn't make it as
excuses, Josh.
It is, but I mean, it's life, right? So, but I do miss going out to the ballpark, and I enjoyed going out there many times in the past when there were no bleachers over my head. Now it's gotten a little bit big, which I do like. So
I like the shade, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited and I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's put it to you that way.
So they are coming off a series loss to Arizona State. They won the first game 5-4. They seem to have a good ace starter. They have one good starter in their rotation. Teams are scoring a lot on them, good teams. So UCLA, they lost 5-15 in game 3, which is number 1, by the way, UCLA. 1-5 and then 2-10. And then they lost 2-12 against Oklahoma. Number 7, Arkansas, they played close, but that was a single game, right? 5-4. And that was in the Shriners Children's College Showdown. They also beat number 23 Vandy 5-4 as well. So they've got 1 to 2 really, really strong pitchers. But if we can make them work their pitch count up, I think that this could be a series where this team kind of shows out a little bit. TCU overall right now is 12-8. So they're at 600. They're 1-2 in conference. They're 2-5 away, but they're 8-1 at home. So they play much, much better at home. And, when it comes to how good of a hitting team this team is actually going to be, if they build off of Oklahoma State, which they seem to do tonight against Columbia. But if they take that hitting and the fact that they're seeing the ball better into this game, I think they could come away with the series win for sure. I don't think they'll sweep because TCU does have a pitcher or two that's really good. But if they can get his pitch count up and get him out early, I don't think TCU has much behind that. And that's really, I think, going to be the key to the series for UCF as well. How well do we hit, and how high can we get the pitch count to try to get those 1 to 2 aces out as early as we possibly can. So I think UCF will win the series. We'll just see how they hit. And the big difference is being able to hit. They were hitting a lot of grounders to the infield right at the defenders, and they're being a little bit better about getting it over their heads or getting them in gaps or being a little more selective on where they were hitting and making contact. Which is, they're 2 or 3 of the players. You watch the adjustments that they made before the swing, and it's made a big difference in our ability to score runs. All right. Now that that's being said, is there anything else you want to add for UCF baseball at the moment?
not here. I'm really excited I'm really excited and cautiously optimistic. I'm going to stick to that, and let's see what happens the next couple of weeks.
Alan, anything from you?
Go Knights.
Charge on, baby. All right, let's go ahead and swiv it yet again.
Yeah, got my tickets.
Nice. Let's swiv it
Swiv
again.
Swiv it.
To listener love. Big shout out to Econ Advisor, who says poor Arizona scouts readying for playing Cincy, who don't have the weight of strength to stop them. I said we played well. We played them well at home. Hopefully this gave us some time and took the pressure off, and they play loose. Obviously that did not happen. We ended up losing that game, unfortunately. Fallen Hero, the based legend 5723, in reference to our softball. I made a comment about softball. He says, you must not have watched last year. We won a lot, or we made a short about that. We won a lot, but lost a few questionable games. Our response was, thanks for chiming in and watching. We did watch last year. Interested in your take as to why you think we didn't watch last year. If it's pitching, let us know what you think. We did lose some tough ones. The Arizona series was one, as well as the performance in the Big 12 tourney against them. Most of the others were low scoring, close games. That was because we had a solid rotation and pitching staff this year. In the circle, we've got Lopez, right? And that's
and like the second or third are holding their own at times.
At times. I mean, there's been some games where they've in the circle where they've just been beaten.
Want Yesenia to get there. Like I think what it really a big part of it. If you look at our pitching staff, we have a couple of seniors and juniors, and then like 4 freshmen and sophomore. And I feel like they're going to get there. And I don't know if this season was going to be the like we're going to knock it out the park season. Yet we are doing really, really well. So
we do have a lot of young pitchers.
Whatever we get at this point.
Yeah, we have a lot of young pitchers on the staff. Vega obviously is our ace. Isabella Vega. She comes in. She absolutely is on it. And we bring her back in tight games the next day to pitch as well. We have to be a little bit careful on how much we use her. Because, obviously softball, you're not throwing as many pitches as what you would be in baseball, but you still definitely want to make sure we're keeping the wear and tear off of her, because she is 100% that we look to, the person we look to in the circle. All right, next one, a green 5469, long-time listener and frequent contributor. We appreciate you. He says terrible officiating versus OSU as well. And we said atrocious. It's been a long time since we joined the Big 12. However, JD's reaction says it all. And in that game, JD about came unglued on the refs, which was freaking amazing.
And someone deserved to it.
This is what I'm looking for out of JD, right? I keep screaming about this. I know Ben's like, oh, that's not the guy. I don't care. I enjoyed that moment because he came unglued, came out on the court. He got teed up, and there was good reason for it. And I feel like he's as mild-mannered as can be, but this Big 12 officiating this season has been absolutely atrocious. So that wraps it up for our listener love. Obviously, we've been out of commission for a week, so we don't have as many out there as we usually do. But I want to say thank you to everyone for listening, following along, sharing with your friends, contributing and commenting, because we do it for you. Keep that going. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share with your friends. All right. Now, all that being said, let's go ahead and swiv it to something we haven't done in a while.
Why is that, Alan?
Yeah, Alan's oxymoronic stat of the week. Alan, take it away.
All right. So it's obviously all UCF basketball related. So I just did some research here and, have some fun facts here. So, all right, this is UCF's first ever basketball matchup against UCLA. Roger, you mentioned a point earlier that UCLA does not play well away outside of Pacific time. They're actually 1-6 this year when they're playing outside of the Pacific time zone. And their one win is against Penn State, who I'm pretty sure is last in the Big Ten. What was that?
You're going to take some of my fun facts. I already know that's going to happen. But yes, Penn State is a dump of a team.
Yeah. This is UCF's 6th ever tournament appearance, and the 10th seed that they landed this time is their second highest ever seed. They're previously the 16 seed twice, the 14, the 15, and then the 9 seed, which was their highest back in 2019. In their first 2 appearances, which happened before the year 2000, they lost by an average of 27 points. But in their 3 appearances after 2007, they're 1-3, but only lost by an average margin of 5.3 points, including that 1 point loss to Duke. This is the second time.
Bad memories. Bad memories.
Oh.
This is technically the second time UCF has played an opponent from the Big Ten. I say technically because UCLA has historically obviously been in the pack. But UCF played Purdue is the other Big Ten team they played in one of their 6 tournament appearances, and now they have faced every Power 5 team in basketball outside of the SEC and the Big 12. They've faced the Big East, the ACC, and the Big Ten. And Kirk and Johnny are the only 2 coaches to lead UCF to the dance in school history, even though they have had 6 coaches in school history. And that's your fun facts of the week.
Yeah, one thing just to kind of tag on to your fun fact of the week there. One, UCF is hosting a watch party. So if you can't make it with Josh, there is a watch party in Waterford Lakes on Friday. BJ Taylor is also hosting his own watch party, which is is at a bowling alley. If you want to go check that out, you can find that on Twitter and all the details there as well. Yeah, we don't have very much luck with Purdue teams. I remember watching us play the Boilermakers in the what I would call the Citrus Bowl with an H. There was a very famous quarterback for Purdue that turned into a pretty good NFL player that played for a certain team in the South. Do you remember who was the quarterback at that game?
Wait, which game? Sorry.
Saints quarterback. When we played Purdue at the
Drew Brees?
Drew Brees?
Yes, we played against Drew Brees, and that was the toilet bowl, as I like to. We had a bowl queen. I was at that game. We had a bowl queen that was actually promoted by SGA, and she was walking around with a plunger and a toilet paper toga, and it turned out to be a crappy game for us. So, fun fact. All right, Josh.
So, yeah, do my intro.
All right. I was wondering because you said
I
had 2 queued up, but I wasn't sure if you were adding on to this or if this was part of your
no.
Josh's sometimes funny fact of the week. Josh, take it away.
Okay, I'm actually going to do 2 because we have a little bit of time. One's really simple. How many teams with a record over 500 did you see if UCLA beat on the road this season?
Ooh.
Above 500, you said?
Above 500. I say 500 and above. How many teams did UCLA beat this season with a record of 500 and above?
On the road.
Go ahead, Alan. Since we know they're 1-6.
I said on the. You said on the road, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Or no? Did you not say it? Okay.
On
I'm gonna go with. So they have 20. What was it? 23 wins. I don't know. I'll go with 4.
I'm gonna go with on the road. I'm gonna go with 8. 8 wins on the road.
Okay. Now this is when you look at ESPN and we're not talking going to a tournament or neutral games, just pure at another university. They are 4-7 this year at another university. Their wins are at Washington, Penn State, aforementioned Oregon, and USC. USC is the only team they have beaten over 500 truly on the road this season. And that's not on the road. It's like 5 miles away.
Does that include neutral site?
Nope, it does not include neutral site, just pure going somewhere else. And I don't count USC as going somewhere else, but it's what it is. So it is a little insane that I know it's from the East Coast, and I know there's a lot of these. When you look at those types of things, maybe they play, maybe they don't, but that is intriguing to me. Now, UCLA has played against 5 teams in Florida, named the only team out of those 5 to ever beat them in basketball. Only 1 out of the 5 Florida teams have beaten them ever in basketball.
I'll say Florida.
Alan?
That was my guess. Yeah, Florida.
You are correct. That was a gimme. That's why I wanted to do something harder. So UCLA has never beaten Florida. They're 0-4 against Florida. They have never lost to Florida State, the Cows, North Florida. I think it's one of FAU or FIU. I think it's FIU, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. This is the only. So if we
have they played Miami?
Oh, I should check Miami. I didn't check. I literally typed in Florida. Sorry, you're right. They probably played Miami, and I'm guessing they beat them. I was just with Florida in the name. How about that?
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I was a little shocked that. First of all, I was shocked that they've never beaten Florida. I know Florida sometimes is a good team and sometimes is not. Has been since Billy Donovan era, right? But 4-0 is pretty nuts for a team that's been around a while and really, 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 really good over what was this, their 50th NCAA tournament or something like that. So yeah, they're pretty solid.
Yeah,
I'll stick on Miami stuff in post.
Yeah, they are. Well, I found one here from 1998. So they've played them. They did beat Miami 65-62.
Oh, against Miami, Florida, they are 4-0. Yeah, no, that still works. They're 4-0 against Miami too. So I'm still
That's crazy.
I have to look at other schools in Florida that don't have Florida in the name, but like it's nuts.
Well,
like,
let's go ahead and change
since 49.
That up.
How about that? Since 49.
Yeah, let's go ahead and change that up. All right, Josh, is that it for your sometimes funny fact of the week?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Let's go ahead and swiv it for the last time to a quick update. There you go. A quick update on other UCF sports that Alan and Andrew do not watch, and probably Trey, but that's okay. All right, go ahead, Josh.
All right. So
we already long.
It is long. We have a little time. Listen, there are at least 3 or 4 other teams ranked in the top 25 at the moment, maybe 5. They get some due. I know other people don't watch them, but every single sport outside of women's basketball is doing really well this year. So let's do that. Okay, so women's basketball, aforementioned, they ended the season at 11-19, losing to Kansas in the Big 12 tournament, 35. We'll see what happens there later. So we had to start off with the it's negative, it stinks, but it is, to get to the positive. And there is a lot of positive. The number 12 men's tennis team is now 15. Tampa 4-3. They beat USA, South Alabama and Orlando 7-0, and is 1-0 in conference after beating Texas Tech 4-1 last Friday. Now, there is a Utah double dip happening, but the reverse, they're both coming to Nona. The team plays number 56 BYU this Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m., and Utah on March 21st at 12 p.m. In the conference, TCU is ranked number 2. Baylor is number 9 in the nation, and we are the 3rd highest ranked team, obviously, because we're at number 12. Note, we've only lost to number 9 Baylor and number 7 LSU in the entire season. So we are a really good tennis team on the men's side. And guess what? On the women's side, pretty darn good too. Your number 19th ranked women's tennis team is 3-1 since the last time we updated. They did lose on the road to number 73 Arizona 3-4, which was a bit of an anomaly because we came back right after that and beat number 12 Arizona State 4-3. Then we won it twice at home versus Colorado 4-1 and number 30 Texas Tech 4-1. So yeah, our women's team is also amazing. We're going to do a Central Time Zone double dip. We're going to go up to Ames and face Iowa State on Friday, March 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then number 48 Kansas on Sunday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern. Just so you know. Okay. Just so you know, starting with Kansas, our women's tennis team are playing four top 75 teams in a row. We also have Olivia Bergler. She was named the Big 12 Player of the Week for the first time in her career. She was undefeated in singles play and played the number one position each game or each match last week. So, starting with the and we will talk maybe a smidgen more about this one. Your number 21 ranked softball team is now 23-7 on the year. They went 3-3 in 2 straight weeks. They took the series on the road versus Oklahoma State, number 13 Oklahoma State, 4-1, 1-2, 6-4 respectively. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done at home versus Baylor, losing 2 out of 3. We won the first game 4-3. We got shellacked 3-12 in the middle game, and unfortunately, they got lit up pretty quick with 4 hits, and we lost 2-8 at that last game. It does not get any easier yet again. We have the midweek game against number 21 FIU. That's in Miami. That's going to be on Wednesday, March 18th. If you're live here, that's tomorrow. And what could be an entirely sold-out weekend, as is deserved. The Knights are playing in Orlando versus number 3 Texas Tech. That's going to be on the 20th through the 22nd on 6 p.m. Friday, 5 p.m. Saturday, and 12 p.m. on Sunday. Note. And if you want to talk about Coach Bears asks for support, glad for you to take that over for a second until I get back in here, or I can take that up if you want, Roger.
No, I was going to go ahead and say that too. Yeah, Coach Bear, after the loss against this weekend against Baylor, she was very emotional. She cares a lot. She cares a lot about her players. She talked about how her players had got down on themselves and that she wanted them to believe in themselves as much as she believes in them. But Coach also talked a little bit about the fans and what she said, and the fans and the support for the program. So this softball program and Coach Bear specifically, I think we talked about this last show that we had, how successful Coach Bear has been, how successful this program has been. Going back past Coach Bear, it's one of the winningest programs that we've had and most successful programs that we've had on campus ever since its inception. The softball stadium did get some upgrades. The players did get some upgrades in the past 2 years. But I think, to her point, we heard this whole big thing about Dawkins doing more with less. I think softball does more with less, more so than what basketball does, which is saying a lot because basketball needs to be funded. Let's say that. It's a fun sport. It's a great way to spend an afternoon. I'm moving recently, so I'll be much closer to campus. Or soon, not recently. So I'll be out there again more than I have been. But it goes fast. They're a lot of fun. They're very competitive, more often than not win. And this program, and specifically our coach, deserves our support, both financially and for the team. As you pointed out, we are more than likely sold out this weekend. But we do have a fickle fan base, so support the women's softball team. If you haven't gone, go check it out. It's a good time. It's a great. It goes by fast. The team is good. It's well worth your time. Other than the shade, just make sure to bring something like a hat or something because it
Oh
gets
yeah.
pretty hot out there. So outside of that, I want to voice my support for what Coach Bear said. Obviously, it was an emotional moment for her, but I think some truth came through in that. Support the
Yeah.
team, and I hope that Terry steps up a little bit. If you can step up with your donations as well, it's a program to support 100%. All right,
Yeah.
I'm off my soapbox.
Okay, and I'll throw back on soapbox. Last time I was there, I was hiding like right by Eric in the announcer booth to just get some shade, and I had 2 friends with me who were there from Australia at the game, and they were like, "Damn, it's hot." So I'm not saying it's an excuse, and there needs to be shade. Like that, at least they have to figure out something. We're doing well enough as a team. They're good enough as a team. We have enough money as a school. Get them some freaking shade because it's a significant disadvantage, at least for the fans showing up. I know dedicated fans will, but oh my god, it's nuts when it gets towards the summer. So, by the way,
That's the water fountain we didn't install in the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So we've had like probably the most insane 9 or maybe 10 games with some of the midweek games that we've had, all top 21 and up ranked teams. After that, the only ranked team we play for the next like 20 some odd games or darn near close is UF, who's number 5 for 2 games. After this Texas Tech game, we'll probably see a ton more wins just because this team is that good.
Well, it's not even that. I think that just goes to show, one, based on their ranking. I mean, Coach really loaded up early in the schedule. But number 2, to your point about the rankings, this team is going to stay in the rankings. They are going to be an NCAA team.
Absolutely.
They are they fought and fought and fought. The losses that they have taken, most of them have been close losses. So they're a really, really good team, and they will win a lot of wins. And this is an NCAA team, so watch them because Coach is a great coach, and they've assembled a great roster.
Yeah.
And next year's team, I think, is going to be even better. So they deserve your support 100%.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to try. I don't know if I can go out this weekend, but I'm definitely going to try to make it out soon with my daughter who plays softball as well. So let's go to some other teams that are doing good, but not well. One of them is ranked in the top 15. Men's golf has not done too well. They finished 14th at the Hyatt. Right, we didn't know how to pronounce that, but HYAT, yacht.
Yacht. That's what we settled on.
Yacht. And then they were 4th today. They finished up at the ECU Intercollegiate. I think they won that last year, so it's unfortunate. We're doing all right, but could be doing better. The next matchup is at the Mobile Bay Intercollegiate at Gulf Shores, Alabama, with USA hosting. There's a lot of USA stuff going on today. That's South Alabama. We also, the women's golf team, so they won the UNLV invite. We talked about that the last time you saw us. They had this insane second round of 8 under where no one else, like in both first 2 rounds, shot under par, and they shot 8 under par. They held on and won that. And unfortunately, so they were in the Briars Creek Invitational in South Carolina, and the 3rd round was actually canceled. The team was only 3 shots behind Boston College, and also yet again was the only team that was under par for both rounds. They probably had a shot at catching back up, but they unfortunately were not given that opportunity. They finished. Yeah, I know, it kind of stinks. Up next is the Coach Mo invite at St. Augustine, Florida on March 30th and 31st. That's the 30th is when when the men's team is going to play next. So we got a couple weeks, or at least 13 days from the recording from that. Back to winning teams. Not only winning teams, but ranked teams. Rowing finished the Jacksonville Duel, which is literally us versus Jacksonville University in Lake Pickett last week. They won every single event. Not only did they win every single event, boat 1 and 2 beat their boat 1 and 2. Like, we were number one. We won absolutely everything, which we're a good team. We were ranked 14 in the latest CRCA poll. So this is yet another really good team at UCF. I will tell you, and golf teams, we're not Stanford, right? We have good golf teams, but we're not usually ranked in the top of golf too much, although we should in Florida, but it's what it is. We currently have 4 teams ranked in the top 25 that are playing in the spring. Like this, we are doing well as a university with sports. We're now seeing it a little bit in basketball too. Football, you're up next. That's all I got today.
All right. Thanks, Josh, for ending that on a positive note. We're kind of up and down there with some of those. But ultimately,
you got to get like some of the ups, some of the downs. We're doing pretty good.
You did it again. All right. That being said, we're glad to have Alan back. Just as a reminder, folks, we're going to be moving to Tuesday nights. With that way, more of the team can be here with us. Again, thank you for your support. Go support the softball team and all of our other sports. We appreciate everything you do for us. Remember to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Go Knights and
charge on. See, it's so much easier when Alan's not here, but Alan, I do want you.